And now you've had pretty much the same thing again, only now BLM is, some of the BLM organizers have kind of tried to stop a little bit of the violence and the loot of the riots and looting. The ones here in Little Rock, Arkansas, they had it for about 2-3 days, and well, that's true, but it doesn't negate the fact that most blacks are killed because they're fighting each other over crack cocaine. And legalizing crack cocaine is not going to solve the problem. Just like legalizing liquor didn't really cause, it didn't shut down the mob. It did, allow some freedoms and it took away some police power. But it didn't end crime. It didn't end the violence. And matter of fact, one of the things I try to focus on is people need to focus on is the real problem, which is corrupt government officials. In Prohibition, corrupt government officials allowed Al Capone to run Chicago. He stayed in that big penthouse hotel. Everybody knew where he was, but they let him buy off the mayor and the local police and a lot of the city council and, of course, the cowardly newspaper there. And then when he did the St. Valentine's Massacre, they should have sent in the National Guard and basically arrested or shot and killed the corrupt mayor there in Chicago and a lot of the other politicians. Instead, they used this as an excuse to ban full auto weapons. Before then, you could order a Tommy gun using a full auto .45 caliber with a drum, as much magazines and ammo as you wanted, by mail and have it delivered to you without any background check. It was actually popular with ranchers. And then after the St. Valentine's Day Massacre and all the other violence over alcohol, they did that ban. And see, this is one of the things I'm angry about is that Black Lives Matter, instead of focusing on the real problem, which is people shooting each other over drugs, and to a greater extent corrupt government officials allowing those drugs to come in here, because just like the war on alcohol back in Prohibition, the same deep state are starting and deliberately losing the war on drugs. They are keeping the border open. They're keeping these ships coming in from China with tons of fentanyl. They're keeping tons of cocaine that come across the border. We know about, we're here in Arkansas. If you know Mena, Arkansas, they helped facilitate that. The CIA did that in order to fund their stupid failed projects in Central and South America, supposedly to fight communism, but it quickly deteriorated as a way to poison mainly the poor, because that's who the narcotics trafficked. The crack cocaine usually goes in the black neighborhoods, and then now we got meth going in the poor white neighborhoods. And you have if you watch Meth Storm USA, the opening scene is a red hatchback in a police chase that crashes, and later on it's revealed that red hatchback is driven by a Mexican here illegally smuggling meth, and I think it's Clinton, Arkansas, and they're poisoning us. But, of course, Black Lives Matter, just like the other leftist groups that claim to be the spokespeople for the poor, don't care about that. And not only that, but they seem to get pissed off at people who do. They seem to get angry. I've seen this when I've gone into some kind of comments, because I've commented on some of the broadcasts from KRK-TV and KTV7 when they do marches and in and around Little Rock, and when Mayor Frank Scott Jr. and Chief Humphreys, those two idiots who already should have been impeached long before, recalled from office long before this, tried to appease the Black Lives Matter mob. I guess Frank Scott Jr. thought if he did a Martin Luther King-like march, he could be the next Obama and catapult his political career. Instead, they just started throwing crap at him, and he had to get to his big Tahoe and have his expensive, overpriced security haul him out of there. And then he did 2 press conferences later on where he said he was caught up in the moment. And of course, Chief Humphreys gave his little stupid comments. They had also said that it was okay to block the interstate, which is not. Is another form of appeasement. I don't know where Frank Scott Jr. and Chief Humphreys are now. As I understand it now, basically Asa Hutchinson had to come in, our Republican governor who cannot afford to have the city of Little Rock and the state fall apart because he's going to try to sell a tax increase in November. Yeah, that's coming down the pike. Hopefully enough people are so sick and tired of government and sadly a lot of businesses closed, they'll realize that we need a relief in form of a sales tax reduction that was promised to us. But anyway, I don't know where they're at then. Maybe they're at Chief Humphrey's girlfriend's house, or maybe they're somewhere else. I don't know. But Black Lives Matter doesn't seem to care about the damage that's caused by the drug industry, the legal and illegal drug industry. Paul Calvert, as you mentioned before, a lot of the legal pharmaceuticals are at fault. They don't seem to care about the gangster culture. Folks, if your culture is so destructive and evil that it destroys the family unit, and you can't raise your kid without them turning into either a prostitute or a drug user or a thief, if there's no moral compass, then nothing else really matters. What you do with the police, whether you have a military police state or defund and get rid of all the police altogether, it isn't going to matter. Well, it's not a fuel tax hike, Kevin. The tax that's coming down the line is going to be a sales tax. Well, actually, it is a fuel tax. It's a tax on everything you buy, and it's an anti-small business tax. It was actually increased a few years ago for road projects, and it's supposed to decrease in 2022. But the Arkansas, of course, whenever you hear a politician say this tax increase will sunset, they are lying to you. They will find a way to offset that tax increase. Either they will continue that tax increase, or they will use it as a justification to increase taxes somewhere else. Every time a politician says this tax increase will sunset, they are lying to you. So now it's Arkansas issue 1, and you need to vote against it. It's going to take money from these businesses that have already been damaged by the Wuhan virus, and the Black Lives Matter using George Floyd as an excuse to trash the place and start racial tension. And it's going to give it to the Arkansas Department of Transportation, the same idiots who have made Arkansas one of the laughingstock regarding roads for years now. They've turned Jacksonville into an orange cone playground. They've turned other places into the same. They've spent money on stupid pet projects like $1 million tech park, $1 million building in a tech park, I think for Fayetteville School District, and of course the ridiculous salaries. Yeah. And so, no, they don't deserve more money. We don't need to give more money to more government. And again, if Black Lives Matter are actually clear about black lives, they'd be going after corrupt government officials. They'd be doing what the people in Puerto Rico did. A lot of people, the media has done a great job of trying to get people to forget about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was hit with a hurricane, I think, either last year or the year before last. It was when Trump was in office. I want to say it was 2017. And after they got hit with this hurricane, the media and some of these minority self-appointed spokesmen for minority groups started to blame the Republican president, because that's what they did with Katrina, and they were successful in blaming Bush for all the problems in New Orleans regarding Katrina. And they gave the New Orleans Levy Commission and that crooked Johnson, I think his name was Congressman Johnson, he was the one with $19,000 in his freezer, and he used the Army National Guard to get the money out instead of rescuing people. And of course the idiot mayor of New Orleans, he left all the buses there and they got flooded, and I think the FEMA trailers got messed up or misused or misplaced. All that crap happened. Most of that crap that happened in Katrina that killed and harmed a bunch of black folks was done because of local Democrat politicians. The mayors, the New Orleans Levy Commission, the congressmen, the city council people, they were lazy, crooked bastards, and they let black people die. But again, the leftist people and the people who, I don't know if Black Lives Matter was around then during Katrina, but the people have made this basically where it's the leftist activists. This is these are basically the Black Panther Party, renamed. And they didn't give a damn about the real harm that was done to blacks by those stupid, corrupt politicians. All they did was